Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Play Choices podcast, a podcast you hear. I'm your host, V. Welcome.
Hi, I'm your co-host Lucas. How's everyone doing?
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day! Oh my God, will you be my Valentine?
Oh, duh. I didn't even think we had to ask.
Oh, that's right. We'll talk about this off recording, okay?
Right off camera, off camera. What are you doing for Valentine's other than, spending time with yours truly?
Like I just said earlier, made some spicy chili. We are going to record this, and then maybe like a little, Dead by Daylight action. I had a very productive morning. My usual routine, Sunday morning: laundry, grocery, clean my room.
Right.
But
Errands.
like my Valentine is like 1,500 miles away, so I
Oh.
got to take care of myself.
Yeah, I also ran groceries this morning, and there is nothing more capitalistic in nature than going to a very low budget grocery store
Mhm,
and seeing the two displays of roses in the
mhm,
front.
mhm, yeah.
It was like 9 in the morning I got there, and I was like, of course. I almost forgot it was Valentine's Day, and then I saw the roses, and they had all of these because I go to like a budget grocery store, the ones where they don't even unbox the shit. They just be putting the boxes on
Yeah,
there.
deadass.
So I saw this ripped open box of those really cheap Valentine's Day chocolates. I said, "Oh, y'all were desperate." It looks like someone fought their way into the chocolate box. And I saw like three people going across the flower display. I said, "Oh, y'all are having a time."
You know what's so crazy? I'm almost more likely to forget someone's birthday than I am Valentine's Day. Like, all these husbands, like, running around last minute, like, can we do better? I have seen that many men this morning at the grocery store trying to buy flowers. I really should not have, like
Exactly, exactly. Honestly. Yeah, no, and then I called my mama. My mama was like, "Happy Valentine's Day." I said, "Bitch, I just left the store and I already forgot."
No.
It's just like nowhere on my mind.
Mhm.
Although I did buy myself some Pringles today as a little Valentine's Day treat for
I
myself.
bought some Pringles too, salt and vinegar Pringles.
We have very limited flavor at my budget grocery store, y'all. Like they only had original, cheddar and sour cream.
Yeah, that is very, very limited. At this point, I don't even know why they still make original. Did you get original?
I grabbed one short can of original and one short can of sour cream.
I knew it. The moment you said sour cream, I'm like, I know for sure she got that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, no, I'm a little bit of a original whore.
To me, I'm not original with like Pringles. Like, no, I just feel like I can have like original Lay's, like the potato chips, but like when it comes to original Pringles, I don't know. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm like, where's the flavor?
So here's the thing. Did I eat that entire short can in one sitting of the original? Yes. And then I was like, that 500 calories of just chips, not enough. Let me go get a fistful of
A
the sour
fistful.
cream.
A fistful, yeah.
So I took the fistful, dumped it out into a little bowl so I didn't just sit there and eat the whole can.
Mhm.
And I'm eating it and I said, wow, this one has so much more flavor. I don't
It
know what
has
I was playing.
flavor. I know, I know, I know.
I was like, I don't know why I played myself. Really don't know why. We should probably start talking about the fucking
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm so sorry, guys. Happy Valentine's. Um, Now it's time to open our heart up to new
Oh,
discussions.
we would not be recording for this episode another chapter of Ride or Die. We are going to continue recording chapters of Ride or Die, but we're pivoting over to a new era, a new genre. So we're going to be discussing the first chapter of Open Heart Book 1. So this episode is not going to be spoiler safe. So if you want to avoid spoilers for Book 1, Chapter 1 of Open Heart, please read that first. And we'll be back for you to, come back here and listen. Thank you, Lucas,
Yes.
for the last episode of giving
Mhm.
me the polite way of how to
Mhm.
say that. More so than just go. Right. We're no longer just cursing people out at the beginning of the podcast. I think it's maybe because I haven't worked like a customer service job in a couple years that I just like lost all sense of professionalism in terms of talking to other people. So Lucas had to remind me how to speak to individuals.
Right. I had to bring you back to your roots a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, you put a bitch in corporate for 2 years and she just forgets everything. Um, I do have some like starting notes that I feel like
Let's
is
do
going
it.
to take a little bit of time before we get into the chapter content. But I just feel like there's some like behind the scenes stuff related to this podcast and related to just the Choices app in general that I want to address before we talk about open heart. Is that okay with you?
I'm down with it. Let's do it.
Is it okay if we take a little detour on this journey that we're calling Open Heart Book
Mhm.
1 Chapter 1?
Yes, I love that.
Let's take a little pit stop. I want to talk first. There's two things I want to talk about, but first I want to talk about the structure of the episodes for this podcast. This is very like podcast specific related topic. If you follow us on our socials, that's at Play Choices Pod on Twitter and at Play Choices Podcast both on Instagram and Tumblr, because I have to plug. If
Hmm.
you follow us on those accounts, you might have noticed that I conducted a poll this week to figure out how to release our longer episodes. If you listen to episode 3, it was like 2.5 hours of amazing content. Amazing. I loved that episode. I loved listening back to it. I thought we had a really great discussion.
Hmm.
But I think overall, 2.5 hours of content is a lot to release on like a weekly
Yes.
basis. Not only is it a lot of work to like produce a 2.5 hour podcast, but I also think of me and my own listening habits, and I wonder how many people actually listen to a 2 hour podcast. And I just want to let's call it give you listeners a behind the scenes of what it takes to like bring this podcast from us recording currently on February 14th to it launching the Saturday after. And I'm just going to be, I'm not looking for any sympathy or pity when I say this, but it is a lot of work. And I want to give those of you who have may never tried to launch a podcast some understanding of like what all goes into launching this because it is a lot to manage in a week. So we record typically on Sundays. I feel like
Yes.
that's fair statement, right, on Sundays. So if you do want to send in anything and you want us to answer it prior to our next recording, we record on Sundays. So get it to us, on Saturday night. That's your deadline.
Right.
So on Saturday, I read the chapter, I write down my notes, I write down my discussion questions, I'm looking for screenshots if they're relevant. I'm watching YouTube playthroughs to see how like different choices can impact different outcomes or dialogue options, or even looking at like how different LI scenes play out so that way I can, speak fairly to each LI in the episode. Then we record on Sunday. That can take anywhere from like an hour to 3 hours historically for
Yes.
us.
Yes.
And then after we finish recording on Sunday, I edit the podcast, which like quite literally takes hours. And some days it takes longer than others, and I can't really describe like what the reasoning for that is. But last Sunday we recorded that 2.5 hour episode on Ride or Die. I would say that we probably finished recording at probably what 5:30
Yeah,
p.m.
it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, yeah.
I was editing the audio up until midnight.
Oh my
Don't
God.
ask me why it took that long, but it really did. Like sometimes I can truly get like I think the first episode that was like an hour and 45 minutes, I was able to finish editing that probably I want to say anywhere from like 7 to 9. I can't quite remember. That was 2 weeks ago. But sometimes it just takes longer and it just does. I was sitting there at midnight texting my friend. I was like, "Why is it taking me so long to do this?" Like, I don't know what it is. And then, so if I do all of that on Sunday night, on Monday night, I'm making all of the graphics for the podcast. So, like, that includes the audio clips with the subtitles that I post, the pictures for our Instagram and Instagram stories, any screenshots for the game. I'm formatting our bingo, making the thumbnail for YouTube. I'm coming up with the cover art that goes on all the streaming platforms for each episode. And then on Tuesday night, I will sit down and come up with like the social media schedule. And that's how I manage what content goes up at one time. And so, yeah, that's like 3 days of work. And then throughout the week, I'm also managing our socials. So
Yeah.
if you see Play Choices Podcast, like liking something, commenting on something, sharing something, talking to you, responding to you. It's me. It's V. Hi. That's me. And if it sounds like a lot, that's because it is. And the longer the episode, the more content there is to manage in a week. If this were my full-time job, like if I was making my current salary for this, I'd be all for it. This podcast really isn't bringing us in any money. I think the last time I checked, I probably had $1.28 from ad revenue. I mean, I would joke and say that we could buy a Snickers bar, but I don't even know if we can afford the taxes on a Snickers bar right now with the current payout. And again, this is a passion project for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not looking to like become a millionaire off of this podcast, but I just want to illustrate that like I have a full-time job. Lucas has two jobs.
Yep.
We do not spend every waking second of the day thinking like this is our main source of income. So everything we do is just like an additional hobby for us to do throughout the week. And again, I will repeat, I am not asking for anyone to feel bad for me. Obviously, no one has a gun to my head and is forcing me to do this podcast. Clearly. I picked the episodes back up because remember, if you listen to our 1.5 episode, I've talked about how we had started this podcast in 2019 and I just dropped it because I was putting a lot of shit on my own plate and I had to let it go. And I picked the episodes back up because I do genuinely enjoy recording. Like, I love speaking to Lucas about the book content. I love seeing you all like react and talk to us. It's very rewarding to me. I kind of had a moment where I got like a little bit emotional this week, like a little bit, because like someone had like shouted out our podcast and we were just getting like some nice comments across all of our platforms. And I was like, oh my God. So it is rewarding. Like I'm not sitting here like being like, oh my God, it's so much fucking work. Like realistically, if I hated it, I would just stop doing it. So the fact that we're here every week doing this, like, shows that we want to do this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say that, Lucas and I, we have a week that isn't all shiny and perfect. Whether it's like a family emergency, one of us is sick, we're just not in a good space mentally, this is a lot of work to manage when we really aren't getting paid to do it. And it would make our lives a lot easier in many ways to take these episodes that end up being longer than an hour and a half and split them up.
Yeah.
So I say all of that huge, I probably talked for like what, 7 minutes there, to give you some context. So across our socials earlier this week, I had put up a poll asking you, our listeners, if you would prefer to listen to either longer episodes or if you would prefer that we split those episodes up. So that would mean if we had an episode that was over an hour and a half, we would split the audio in half and we would publish the halves as separate episodes. So part one would be released that Saturday, and then part two would be released the next Saturday. So there'd be a week apart from each other in terms of publishing. Again, my reasoning is I think it would be easier on us, and I also think for some people that might be easier for their attention spans, because I don't know if putting up like a 2.5 hour episode is too long for some of our listeners. So I put up this poll. When I tell you at the final hour, y'all came in and made that vote 50-50. I got 22 votes and it literally landed at 50-50. That means 11 of you voted for longer episodes and 11 of you voted for shorter episodes. I appreciate your input, but I will tell you, I don't know where that takes us.
Right.
From a result perspective, I don't know what the right thing to do is because half of you want longer episodes and half of you don't. So I'm kind of damned if I do, damned if I don't kind of in a situation.
Right. Really though.
So at this very moment as we're recording, I haven't really made a decision yet. Like I haven't decided, oh, I'm only going to do either longer or shorter episodes. To be honest with you, I might switch back and forth as my life kind of requires.
Mm-hmm.
But I want everyone to know who's listening that if I do release a longer episode, it's not ever in spite of the people who want a shorter episodes. And if I split an episode in half, it's not in spite of the people who want longer ones. Like, trust me, I understand. If you're listening to an episode, it may be difficult to kind of, pick it back up the next week. I get that, but I think there's a lot of benefits for a certain percentage of the listeners, 50% to be exact, and a lot of benefits for us as hosts. I also think the bright side of splitting up an episode is that we get ahead of our recordings because currently we're just recording week to week.
Yeah.
So if we can get ahead and one of us can't record for a certain week, it means we won't need to skip a week and we can still provide you all with some sort of content. So yeah, that's kind of my announcement in terms of, the podcast and how we release episodes. Is there anything you want to add, Lucas?
No, you did that as producer, as host. You handled that, and I completely agree with everything you said.
Thank you. The other kind of more serious thing that I want to talk about, which Lucas, I don't think I've had a conversation with you about this, but on Twitter, there were some former Choices writers who let public that they were laid off from Pixelberry, aka the parent company of Choices, due to restructuring. So all of the former employees who came out, their names are Jen, Jake, and Rachel. Jen wrote for Endless Summer, Mismatch, and The Heist. Monaco. Jake wrote for A Quotation of Rome, Mismatch, and Blaze of Light and Shadow. And Rachel wrote for Class Act, Mismatch, and High School Story. As much as we love to share our critiques, both like lighthearted and serious for this app, I think in any situation, it sucks to see someone let go. I
Right.
was laid off a couple of months ago. That shit sucked. It's not for the faint of heart, especially in the middle of this panoramic, parabola, whatever you
Correct.
want to call it. It sucks. So if you're in the industry and you know of any openings, I'm going to try to say their Twitter handles, and I'll also put it in the description. Rachel is at R.A. Zilberg. Jake is at Jake Darzinski. And Jen is at AlloAJ on Twitter. I will put those in the description of the episode as well. I would just ask, please do not barrage them with questions about the books or Pixelberry.
Right.
They have much larger concerns, like finding out where their next paycheck is coming from, than giving us tea about the company. So yeah, that was my more serious thing that I wanted to address because I do think whatever help we can send to them
Right.
is really important. So if you know of any opportunities or know of any resources they could use, please reach out to them and be respectful, as always. Okay, I think we are finally ready to talk about Open Heart.
Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. So again, this is Open Heart Book 1, Chapter 1. Can I just say also, I think we talked about this in the last episode, but Book 3 is coming out on the 19th of this month.
God.
So we have some content to chat,
Yeah, I
to
was
catch up
we
on
got
before
some.
we
Right.
before we launch into that. Book 1, Chapter 1. The chapter title is called The Doctor's Inn. Chapter summary says you're the newest medical resident at Edenbrook Hospital, working under the brilliant and demanding Dr. Ethan Ramsey. Can you make the cut? The genres that this book fall under are medical, drama, and doctors, which is like my favorite fucking genre. Just doctors.
Just
Just
doctors.
doctors.
No, we don't want to talk about the medical. We just want to talk about the doctors.
Just doctors. I was truly so perplexed when I read that because I was like, is doctors a genre? When I think of a genre, I think of romance,
Right.
mystery, horror,
Mm-hmm.
thriller,
Mm-hmm.
suspense, bite of life. Not doctors.
Not doctors.
I need to pull up the fucking genres that they have for Ride or Die because I feel like one of them was like race cars or some shit, and I was like, what? I'm like, that's a noun. That's not a genre.
No,
Let me pull it up.
that
Yeah, the genre is adrenaline. Is adrenaline a genre?
I just feel like adrenaline as a drama should be action. Like, why are we trying to like? What is like?
A thriller.
But thriller is like if action and horror had a baby.
You might be right. Doctors as a genre is it's a little silly. I'll be honest. It made me chuckle a little bit.
It is. It is.
Made me chuckle a little bit. So, jumping into the actual content of the book, um, the introduction to this series is like way more like on the nose than I remember it being, to be honest with you. Like the introduction of the book, it talks about the primary setting is Edenbrook's the name of the hospital. It's in Boston and it is the city's most prestigious teaching hospital. I guess I say it's on the nose because I think the beginning is like, "Welcome to Edenbrook. It is your first day as a doctor at this most prestigious teaching hospital in Boston." And I was like, "Oh, I forgot that the intro was like this." And then we're immediately introduced to Dr. Inez de la Rosa. Inez asks you if it's your first day of the medical residency, and this is where we're kind of intro to the character creation screen.
Right.
This book does allow you to either be a woman or a man, which is great because usually it's just a female character. And this is where we learn that the default MC name is Casey Valentine, so we're gonna call Casey that. And I'm gonna do my best to use they them pronouns. I played as a woman, so sometimes I might say her, but I'm gonna do my best to use they them pronouns because I'm assuming you picked a man.
I did, but I kept the name Casey because it was unisex. So I was like,
Right.
let's just be Casey and like progress in the story.
Absolutely, absolutely. But so after we finish customizing our character, we learn that Inez is a second year resident, and Inez predicts that the first year as an intern is the craziest year out of the entire residency. So already some early foreshadowing. We know that there's some shit's about to pop off.
Yeah, already.
Casey will say they've been dreaming of working at Edenbrook for years and that their role model, Ethan Ramsey, was their inspiration for even applying to medical school in the first place. And then Inez makes a recommendation that Casey makes friends early on because, per her words, they will help Casey get through anything. And she also warns Casey to not annoy any attendings. So Casey's walking through the hospital to orientation of their first day, and a woman collapses out of her seat. Okay, so Casey can either yell for people to give the woman. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because it's just like your luck, right? Like you can't even like child, you didn't even be where you're not even in the room that you're supposed to be at. Some woman falling out right in front of you. Like it would be the irony of the whole thing.
Yeah, no, it's very. I don't want to spoil our bingo, but there's a lot of like medical drama tropes that you could poke at, I think, in this book. And this, like, not even getting to put on like your coat and someone collapsing in the waiting room, it's one of those things, you know?
It's like thank God that you have an ID at least, you know.
Thank God you're not like a high school student who just wanted to like intern at the hospital. Like, thank God our character has actually been through medical school. So this woman collapses out of her seat. Casey can either yell for people to give the woman space.
I think it was give the woman some space, and if you click that, it's what Casey says is give the woman some space. I am a doctor. Or the second option is someone get a doctor, which I didn't choose because I was like, you are a doctor, honey. You got to step up to the plate. This is your first day. So I chose the give women some space, and then they quote after that, I am a doctor. So I was like, all right, we're good. Everyone knows what I am. Let's go ahead and handle the situation.
Right. You have to establish, the
Dominance.
occupation of the main character. Actually, I might have clicked get a doctor. Here's the thing about Open Heart, and this is something we'll get into, but I forgot how much QuickTime events they put in this book.
Oh my God, yes.
There's so many different chances throughout the book you'll notice and throughout the entire series where I am someone who has no medical know-how. I know nothing. Lucas is probably better prepared for this book than I am. If you ask me to make a split-second decision on like whether to use the scalpel on their neck or their chest, I'm not gonna know. So when the opportunity came up to call for a doctor, I called for a doctor. I don't feel like one yet.
I am an intern. Okay.
I am an intern. It's my first day. I don't even have my coat on yet. No matter what option you pick, another doctor does come in and like checks out the woman. So this doctor calls Casey over to assist and puts her in the gurney. And the situation is pretty urgent. The woman's pulse is weak, she's unresponsive, and her blood pressure is plummeting. Casey notices that a bruise is forming on her elbow and that her fingertips are turning blue. They state that this is a sign of low blood oxygen saturation, and then
Mhm.
from the bruise, we can tell the woman is a hemophiliac and
Mhm.
she is in danger of suffocating really soon. So the doctor seems to know what's wrong with the woman, but forces Casey to figure it out for themselves. Casey is able to recall it's a hemothorax, meaning that a blood vessel burst and it's blocking the woman's lungs from expanding. So the doctor calls out to a nurse, says we need to do like an emergency surgery. The nurse, for some reason, hands the scalpel to Casey and not the doctor.
No, listen. When I was playing this and that happened, when I tell you I would have handed it to the doctor so quickly, I was like, "Oh, we're just passing it. Got it. Okay. All right. I don't know."
Said hot tomato, hot tomato.
I truly, truly.
So Casey's hand is shaking. I think all of us would be at this point.
Yeah.
The doctor kind of, calms Casey down, reassures Casey, you can do this. Casey does the incision. I mean, assuming you're able to do the QuickTime event correctly, because I was able to steady my hand. I don't know how that plays out if your hand is still shaking. In my book, at least, and I'm assuming probably in your book too, that
Mhm.
the Casey was able to make the incision and save the woman's
Yes.
life. So,
Yes.
of course, in typical medical drama fashion, everybody starts clapping, applause from the entire audience that was on looking this woman's near-death experience. Casey will make a comment to the doctor that it was like, oh my God, what an amazing experience to save this woman. And the doctor is like, it was amazing you didn't kill this bitch.
No, listen, I was so freaking shocked because, like, I think to me that was the only non-cliche about, like, the scenario. Because like, most people would be like, "Wow, like, you were really good under pressure for that being your first time, like, there's potential in you." He straight up was like, "Wow, you almost killed this bitch." And I said, "Excuse me? Excuse me."
It is such a tone shift from how he reacted in the middle of her dying and then after.
Right.
Because when Casey was shaking, he was like, you can do
You
this.
can do this?
You got this. You're the man. You're the woman, okay? You can do this. You got this. And then as soon as it's over, you turn around, you're like, wow, wasn't that fun? He was like, yeah, you fucking piece of shit.
No, like, literally, like, literally.
The verbal abuse that our character goes through in the first like 5 minutes of this book. Lucas, you were in
Nursing classes, yeah.
nursing classes and you know some people who went to nursing school. Is it actually like this?
Yes, yes. Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you
Okay,
something.
tell me.
So, I obviously, you know that like we took college classes while we were in high school. Guys, we're not just funny, we're smart, okay?
We're intelligent and educated, thank you very much.
So when I went to the university, I didn't have to take as many elective classes. So like my workload and my like classes for the first few years were very, like they weren't too strenuous. So my what would you call it? Freshman seminar professor was the head of the whole nursing program, and so she gave us access to the rooms that they use in order to like mock what it would be like in an ER. So I had like the little gas bag that is used to put oxygen in the body when they can't breathe on their own. And I'm doing it right. And she was like, "Wow, okay." Like literally just like saying that. She's like, "Okay, all right, okay." And then the monitor started beeping, and she looked, and she was like, "Hmm, the patient's dead." I said, "What?" I said, "What did I do?" She was like, "You were pushing too hard and too rapidly, so the oxygen was going straight to the stomach, and it, like, caused a hernia." And I was like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm done." I was like, "Why didn't you correct me the moment it was happening?" And she was like, "Well, you have to learn." It is literally like that. It is literally like, "You're fine. You're doing great. Just do it yourself." And then, like, you do it, and there's like, "Now let me tell you literally every fucking thing you did wrong, you stupid piece of shit. You're lucky this person is."
That just I understand it's a dummy, so it's like it's not the same thing, but just the fact that she watched you kill someone and was like,
Mhm,
"No, that was
mhm.
wrong.
Yeah.
That was wrong. I just wanted you to know that they died because you gave them a hernia."
Yeah, I said, "A hernia?" She said, "Yeah." She was like, "The abdomen became distended, and we didn't catch it in time, and it ruptured." And I was like, "I gotta go."
You said, "I can I get a refund for my tuition?"
Get a refund.
Oh my god, that is so stressful.
Like the two main aspects, in my opinion, of trying to get a medical degree is, actually knowing the terminology and the knowledge of procedures and everything that you need to know medicine. But first and foremost, it's thinking quickly and knowing you really make mistakes.
Yeah, it's definitely being able to react well under pressure because if
Mhm.
you're a person who just like loses it under any amount of stress, like that's not going to go well for you.
Which I'm almost thankful I stopped with the program because, bitch, this crippling anxiety, what I look like? I'm about to be cutting everyone the wrong way. I'm about to be slicing everyone the wrong way. I'm gonna cost the hospital so much fucking money in malpractice.
Yeah, no. Reading this book makes me really glad that I didn't think it was a good decision to go into the medical field because at one point in my like early high school days, I really wanted to. And then I looked at how much like after school, like post grad education
Mhm.
you had to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm gonna get my business degree and I'm gonna happily walk my happy ass out and go right into the real world without having to do 8 years of education
Right.
after.
Truly, truly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could not have done a career in the medical field. And this book makes me very happy that I decided not to do that. Yeah, going back to the verbal abuse that Casey had to endure, Casey can respond to the doctor by saying one of three things. You can either say, just who the hell do you think you are? Maybe you can give me some private lessons. And I'm sorry, doctor, it's my first day. Which one did you pick?
Okay, so listen, I was like, you know what? Maybe like if I flirt with him a little bit, it'll easen it up. It did not, first of all. Secondly, I just chose maybe you can offer me some private lessons. And the comment and the response I got was not what I thought would be said.
What did he say to you?
First of all, when I clicked it, I automatically kind of regretted it because I was like, damn, that could be like sexual harassment. Like, it's my first day. Don't tell me I'm like almost killed a patient and about to get fired and sued for sexual harassment. Secondly, the response that he said was something on the lines of like, yeah, maybe, LOL. Like kind of, it was like a little flirty, like, oh, yeah, maybe. And then I was like, okay, good, good. He was like, but I doubt you can afford my salary. I said, okay, wow. Okay.
I will say I think his response to the flirtatious option is better than the other options, but it doesn't mean it's good.
Really? What were the other options?
So if you say just who the hell do you think you are, which is not what I would recommend anyone picking in this situation, but he will say the last time that I checked, I wasn't attending, you were an intern.
Oh, I mean,
And if you say, I'm sorry, doctor, it's my first day, he will sarcastically apologize and will say, oh, I didn't realize that. And I'm sure that excuse would have comforted her family.
uh,
Yeah.
okay, I guess the second one is the best one, and it's not even the best. Okay, all right,
Which is
moving.
crazy to me because I'm like, why would you see this doctor and automatically be like, let me see if I can get some dick? That feels so inappropriate to me. Like, and the fact that you get the best response from him if you flirt with him, it doesn't compute in my head. Whatever option you pick, he will grab your lanyard to like check your last name and then he'll walk away. And then a nurse will inform you, oh, don't worry, Dr. Ramsey acts like that towards everyone. And then this is when Casey realizes that that doctor was their idol. Probably not the greatest first impression.
Right, right.
Like they say, never meet your heroes. But I mean, now we know, we've run into the again, probably another medical drama trope is the main character in the first 10 minutes in the hospital running into their idol that works there. So Casey will then make their way into a locker room. They have blood on them from the emergency procedure, so they have to go change. And Casey will meet a woman in her underwear. You can either say, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," or "Holy crap, you're hot." Which one did you pick?
First of all, even if I wasn't gay, I would not choose. Oh my god, you're hot. So I would, I did the more modest response, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
So if you do say "Holy crap, you're hot," this woman will sarcastically comment, "Oh my god, no one's ever told me that before."
Love that. Honestly, love that.
Right, and then if Casey says, "I'm so sorry," she'll comment that she's not sure how you made it through medical school without seeing someone in their bra. And then a man will interrupt you and will tell the woman who we learn from this dialogue that the woman's name is Jackie. The man will tell Jackie, go easy on you. It's all of our first days. Jackie will say she's friendly if Casey stays out of her way. Which to be fair, the way that I said that sound more like a threat than I think it comes off in the dialogue in the book. And then Casey can either say, "I don't scare easily," or "I'm the one you should be
Mhm.
scared of."
Right.
If you say you don't scare easily, the man will kind of wink at you and be like, "Oh, neither do I." And if you say, "I'm the one you should be scared of," the man will say, "Oh, like this person is quiet but fierce." Either way, I think it's a good impression to give,
Yes, it
right?
is. It is.
The man will introduce himself as Bryce Lahela, and Bryce is a surgical intern. Casey introduces himself as an internal medicine intern. So this is kind of the first time that we get the actual. I don't know what you would call this. It's not an occupation. What would you call that?
It's not. I would just call it like a specialty.
Okay. So this is the first time that we learn the specialty that our main character is in. And then Jackie will say that she's also in the same group, so the group will walk to orientation together. At orientation, the trio meets Harper Emery. Dr. Emery is Eden Brooks' new chief, so she has a reputation as a world famous neurosurgeon before she got promoted to chief. Dr. Emery will be giving a speech. Everyone will kind of be like eating it up. It's like really inspirational, blah, blah, blah. Casey will kind of look around the crowd to see like who her fellow interns are. And she'll see an intern who looks like pretty angry and like
Yeah.
isn't clapping after everything that Dr. Emery is saying. So it calls her out. We kind of get this feeling we're going to meet this character pretty soon in the chapter. And all of the interns are given their first assignments. So as they're walking over to the board of their assignments, Casey will yawn. Casey will say that they didn't get much sleep last night because their room that they rented is actually like essentially a closet under a staircase. So didn't really get a lot of sleep the night before.
But the way they described it made it seem like Harry Potter or something. Like he living in like a fucking broom closet underneath a damn stairwell. We do have, some very small rooms, but nothing that I feel like you couldn't get like a good night's sleep in. like, like I feel like your biggest concern would be storage.
Or mice or insects or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to question how intelligent Casey is because I'm trying to figure out like, did you not get any photos of the room?
Like, did you do it last minute? I don't understand. Like, you should be more put together than this.
Like, I understand you got hella medical bills. Like, I'm trying to be sympathetic to that, but also, why are you sleeping in a closet?
Yeah, truly.
I feel like I would quicker get a hotel room if I walked in and I realized that was the setup of my shit. I think I would quicker get a hotel room than stay there.
Casey really just reminds me of a professor that we had in the nursing school who would religiously walk outside in between classes and smoke cigarettes. And I feel like we would always look at her and be like, is someone going to tell her that smoking could cause cancer? Like, she would just religiously do it as if she did not have her medical degree or just common sense in general. And I feel like that's Casey. I feel like Casey's like, because the options are either like, you know what, that's kind of bad, and then the second one's like, that's even worse. So we're just gonna take the bad one.
It is kind of weird. Like, our main character seems like really naive.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's very strange because the rest of these characters, they're all like Jackie's very quick-witted. I mean, Bryce,
Mm-hmm.
he's very sarcastic and like
Mm-hmm.
bubbly, but he's not bubbly in the sense that he's dumb. Our main character, I mean, there are just certain options you can pick where it's like, have you been in the real world?
Have you held a real conversation before?
Exactly. Clearly, I feel like I'm predicting that situation will probably resolve itself because there's no way that our main character can continue to live in a broom closet. We can't do
Yeah,
this.
no, not at all.
How how did they get ready in the morning? Maybe that's why they came in so early to orientation.
To get some
They
fresh.
said we ain't sleeping anyways. The trio walks over to the board. They get their assignments. Casey is looking at the paper. They realize that they're paired with Dr. Aurora Emery, which is the angry looking intern who we saw in the crowd before. We learn that Dr. Emery is actually Harper's niece, and Aurora kind of preemptively says to the group, she's like, I could get you a meeting with her, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, very boss-like.
Very boss like, setting the scene that whatever bullshit you trying to get from me just because I'm her niece,
Yes, yes.
don't. Casey can either say it's cool or difficult to have the chief of the hospital as an aunt. If you say it's cool, she'll just be like, well, who asked you? And then if you say it's difficult, Aurora will kind of like act surprised that you didn't immediately think it was a positive thing. And then Aurora will still say, well, who asked you?
Yeah, and that pissed me off because I said it must be difficult because, like, obviously, like, I think people underestimate the crushing, like, feeling of family legacies. And it said, like, she had made a, kind of like a sincere face. And I was like, oh, I'm getting to her. The way she flipped and gaslighted me and was like, oh, basically, who cares? I was like, you know what? I'm done. Take me to the patient, please. God.
You're like, oh, so this is how we're gonna start off our partnership.
No,
Good, good, good.
literally halfway through this book, I said, I'm done trying to impress anyone. The fuck?
Because we just can't do it. Dr. Ethan don't like us. I don't even know if Jackie and Bryce like us at this point. I think Bryce probably does, but Jackie, I don't know. And Aurora being rude.
Going back a little bit, like when you change right before you meet everyone for orientation, they give you an option for diamonds to get like the doctor's coat. I did it because let me tell you why. It was either that or wear the same clothes that has blood on it. And I'm like, y'all are really putting me in between a rock and a hard place right now. Like, y'all are really like, what did Casey do? What did Casey do as a character for this person to literally just get shitted on by every single interaction and gotta wear bloody fucking clothes to orientation? No. I said, give me that damn doctor's uniform, please. Thank you.
I can pull this up and check, but I'm pretty sure the non-diamond option is just a new pair of scrubs.
Oh my god.
So you might have just spent 25 diamonds. I mean, hey, at least if you spend diamonds in this chapter, you know it's not in vain because you are getting a third one. Unlike, the previous book we had talked about. Let me pull up this diamond
If
option.
you spend diamonds, it is not because it's not going to give you any favors with the characters. Okay, like, they are still going to shit on you.
Correct. And normally it's the entire reason of like why you would want to pay diamonds for an outfit because one, the character looks cute, but also two, the other characters will react and be like, "Oh my god, what a great outfit. You look amazing." And like
Yeah, no, did not get that.
I pulled it up and I can confirm that it says a clean scrub.
Oh, I should have just went with clean scrubs.
Cuz either way, people treat you with straight up disrespect. So, after this interaction, Aurora and Casey will make their way to their patient, and Casey will ask Aurora how she wants to approach the case. And Aurora will be dismissive towards Casey, like, oh, we don't really have a reason to discuss how we want to approach this. Casey can say one of three things: I'm just trying to be friendly, all I care about is the patient, and don't test me. Which one do you pick?
I said all I care about is the patient.
How did you feel about how Aurora responded to you?
Oh, like basically, like we're in agreement, or like she was like, "Oh yeah, like same here." That pisses me off because let me tell you, if we are in agreement, then you can be like, okay, good, glad to know that we're on the same page. Let's go ahead. Not this passive aggressive, like, oh well, I was just about to say that. Okay, bitch. All right then. Like, let's just go. Like, what is the issue? Like, we're here to do our job. And it's like you obviously don't want to get to know me on a personal level, but yet you trying to be superior to me on a professional level. There is no winning with Casey. So far, this book one, there is no winning.
Everyone just seems to be very aggressive towards Casey. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I do think all I care about is the patient is like the best option because it's just kind of level set. Like, if you don't want to be nice to me, it's fine. I'm not going to suck up to you. But at the same time, like, I just want you to know that, like, I'm here to do my job and take care of the
Right.
patient, right? The other options, if you say, I'm just trying to be friendly, Casey will say it's a tough job and they should have each other's backs. And Aurora will just be like, I'm fine on my own. Thank you very much. If you say, don't test me, this is probably the most entertaining option to me, but Casey can say, I don't care who your aunt is. Your aunt could be the fucking president of the United States, and I don't care. I'm here to succeed. And then Casey will call Aurora Princess Nepotism.
Oh, oh,
And then Aurora will just kind of look back and will be like, I'm glad that you have a backbone because I started to think you didn't have one. Can be rude to her, and Aurora's just like, good. Congratulations on responding to me in a way that isn't in tears. Aurora, a bitch. I think we can say that our impression of her,
yeah, you know.
she's a little bit of a bitch, okay? So you meet your first patient, Annie, and Aurora will, stop being cold. She'll warm up to the patient. She'll smile at Annie, which is pretty surprising considering the way she just takes on and off that mask. But good for her. She has good bedside manner.
Yes.
So we learned that Annie had just moved to Boston for grad school. She doesn't have any family or friends in the area. And then Casey and Annie will very quickly bond over being new to Boston. Annie has marbled patches on her skin that she scratches, and we learn that this is a new symptom for her. We also learned she has headaches, nausea, vertigo, and crampy hands. And then the symptoms started a week ago, and then Casey also notices a neck rash and a cut on Annie's ankle. So we
Mm-hmm.
learn that Annie is a scuba diver, and she was recently on a trip to Indonesia. She had to cut it short because she was having all these symptoms. So while Casey and Aurora are discussing how to handle the patient, Aurora is called up to her aunt's office, leaving Casey with all of the grunt work. Annie's labs later come back, and Casey prescribes an antibiotic for bacteria that they found in her blood.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably thinking if we just prescribe this antibiotic, all the symptoms will probably clear up.
Right.
So later, Casey is trying to find their way back to Annie's room, and they bump into a man named Landry Olson. He's also a fellow intern. I think we kind of talked with him a little bit when everybody was getting their assignments. Landry reveals that he is reading Ethan Ramsey's book, Diagnostic Principles, and Landry recognizes Casey as the intern who had helped Ethan earlier that morning. So apparently, our audience was larger than we thought. Or maybe rumor just spreads quickly in the hospital. I don't know. And then Landry will say that it's great that you got to talk to Ethan. And they will spot Ethan down the hall. So this is when you can either choose to hide from Ethan or speak to him. What did you do? Did you take the diamond scene?
I did because here's the thing, again, just rocking this hard place. Why am I hiding from him? Like, why am I cowering over just because of our first interaction? Like, oh, he said something mean. Let me go hide behind some intern I just met. I said, no, let me talk to this man. Click that. I clicked that diamond so fucking fast.
Sometimes I wish. I feel like the diamond options are either act normally or go eat shit.
No, like literally. I'm like, why is this like? It really is act professional or go cower. And I'm like, okay, you guys are literally not even giving me a choice. Like, I have to spend diamonds.
Why can't you just stand there and just let him do his thing and just continue on with your day? Why is it either I have to go put myself in his face or I have to leave immediately? That is just not the way that any normal person would conduct themselves in a professional environment. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it's literally like act normal and say hey to him, 8 diamonds. Or option B, shit yourself and everyone in the hospital can smell it. Like that's literally
So I will say personally, on my own playthrough, I didn't pick the diamond option just because I don't really care to impress this man. I feel like he comes off as one of those characters to me that are just they're gonna be rude to you to be even if you do something nice. Even if they're satisfied, they will say something sarcastic well, hopefully next time you'll do that well. He comes off as like a Dr. Cox or like a Dr. House to me, and they're very rarely ever nice. So I'm like, why would I go out of my way to go talk to him? I don't think hiding from him is a good option, but that's the only other option I had, so I guess I hid. If you do hide, you basically hide behind Landry, which doesn't make any sense because it kind of mentions that Landry is he's a very skinny dude. He's not someone who's big and tall, so you can't necessarily hide behind him. And Ethan will see you anyways. He'll walk down the hallway and he'll ask you, he's like, "Rookie, are you hiding from me?" And you can either say yes or no. And I think no matter how you respond, Ethan will just kind of rub the bridge of his nose and be like, "Oh my god, interns," and just walk away.
oh my god.
It's very embarrassing. If you do decide to take the diamond option, Casey will walk over with Landry's copy of Ethan's published book, and you'll see that Ethan is dealing with a difficult patient. Casey can tell Ethan that they won't let him down again, or they can say, "I'm your biggest fan." What did you pick?
I said I'm your biggest fan because I just feel like You being an intern sets the premise of like you're gonna disappoint a lot of people and like you have to fail in order to learn. So why would I even make that false promise of like I'm not gonna let you down again?
How did he respond? Like, what was the dialogue option like?
What did he say? When I said I'm your biggest fan, he was sarcastic. He was like, "Oh yeah, like you're my biggest fan." Okay. And then you just recite like, "No, like really I am. Like I've read all your research papers, all of your books." And you mentioned one paper and he was like, "I don't even have a copy of that." Like that's a paper that I wrote when I was, still in med school. And I'm like, "Oh, like I can give you my copy if you want." And like instead of just being a fucking human being being like, "Oh, no, like, it's okay." He's just like, "Ugh, I don't need it. It's fine. Like, it's whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, here we go." Like, here we go.
Yeah, so like I said, I didn't pay for the diamond option, so I kind of had to rely on just playthroughs to show me with the other ones. And all the playthroughs that I watched on YouTube, pretty much just all of them picked, oh, we won't let you down again.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Ethan will say to Casey, oh, you must be able to see the future then. And then he says that Casey will let him down, but it's important that in the future that Casey picks themselves up and takes it as, a learning lesson whenever they do fall. So kind of passes along, some advice to Casey. Casey will notice that Ethan is looking for a snack to bring to his difficult patient in order to cheer the patient up because the patient hasn't taken their medicine in like 2 days. So Casey can
Mhm.
suggest either the gum or hot chocolate, and whatever you pick, the treat will get the patient to like take their medication. Casey will notice that they have like 50 cents left over in the vending machine, and Casey can either buy Ethan or themselves a treat. What'd you do?
I bought him the candy bar because it said that he was looking at it, so I was like, "Let me go ahead and get you this candy bar."
I love that Casey was like, I have 50 cents that isn't my money, and I'm going to make a decision what to do with it.
Yes, yes.
It's so funny to me. And again, watching the YouTube playthroughs, I think everyone picked to get Ethan a treat. So I didn't necessarily see what happens if you get the gummies that the main character wants to eat. But essentially, Casey will give Ethan the candy bar and will say, like, it's okay to treat yourself sometimes. Like, you don't have to be
Right.
selfless all the time. At the end of the interaction, Ethan will sign the book with a quote saying, "Don't let me down." And you'll bring the book back to Landry, and Landry will like give you a hug.
That's funny. My quote was, "For my biggest fan."
Aww.
Mhm. Like, that right there, it was, like, "For my biggest fan," and then he said it was something, like, flirty. He said something. Oh, no, 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 when you tell him, like, "Oh, it's okay to treat yourself," and he was like, "I'll keep that in mind," and then I'm about to walk away, and he's like, "Wait, hold on a second," grabs the book, he's like, "From your biggest fan," or, like, "To my biggest fan," and then, like, he gives it back to me, and he's like, like, "I'll see you around, Valentine," and you say, like, "Oh, like, you remember my name," and he's like, "Yeah, I pay attention to detail," and so I was like, "Oh, okay, like, alright."
Yeah, I think the entire interaction is the same. I think it just changes the quote that he leaves in your book, which I will
Got you.
say makes way more sense. If you say that to my biggest fan for handing the book back to Landry, because Landry, when he gets the book back and it says like "Don't let me down," Landry will be like, "That's pretty intense." Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Landry was like, why'd he write this?" I think it just changed the quote that he puts in the book. So later, Casey will go to Annie's room to check on her, and Annie will request that Casey sits down with her. Casey starts having a conversation, tries to ask Annie about her life, and then when Annie tries to answer, she will lose consciousness and her heart will stop. That's the cliffhanger that we're left on for chapter one. I would just ask, like, what are your overall general thoughts about this book?
I feel like this book has a lot of potential. I almost like it that everyone hates you because it just like I think that in itself kind of gives you a drive to do it for yourself as opposed to trying to get other people to like you. And I think that's what's important about the plot of this story is that like when you are faced with the concept that even your allies are being real bitchy in the fucking very beginning, you almost have to do it for yourself. Like there's no flirting, there's no getting out of it. Trust me, I tried. My flirtation didn't work. Everyone said I was shitty, and so it just gave me like it truly makes me want to be the best doctor in this story and just not give a fuck about anybody and focus on myself.
Yeah, I feel like that is a very common trope within itself. I feel like every single medical drama has that one student that's just like a little too peppy, a little bit too happy, and then the rest of the doctors
Mhm.
and interns are like, people die here, bitch.
Yep.
People literally die here. Like, why are you sitting here trying to lick everybody's assholes?
So there's this TikTok sound that's really just been like picking up, and it's from Scream Queens, where she's like, "And there's the door," and then there's like an awkward silence, and Lee Michelle's like, "And there's the door, bitch." That's how I feel about this. Like they're just like, "And this is the reality," and you just like kind of nod, and they're like, "You fucking suck, bitch." Like,
Especially in the beginning, because Dr. Inez was like, go make some friends, like, go meet some people. And it's like, everybody being a fucking asshole.
you're literally like, bitch, where? Like, what? Like, the only person that was even remotely nice to you were part of the trio, right?
Hmm.
One of them's not in the same program as you. He's a surgical intern. And then the other one you didn't get paired with. So the only two people that you could potentially become friends with, you're not even with throughout the day. You only exchange, pleasantries in locker rooms. They really gave you nothing to work with this first episode.
No, you literally have no friends. And then the majority of the episode, like you said, is in bulk spent with people that don't like you all that much. And then if you
Yes.
want to make them like you gotta spend diamonds to make them like you.
You gotta spend diamonds.
Which is not, I will say that that's never been a good incentive for me. Like, I have never been like, oh my god, I want to make this character like me, let me spend diamonds. If a character is a fucking asshole to me, I do not spend diamonds on them. Because why? It just seems very counterproductive to me. Spend money to make this person like you. I'm like, oh, so I'm about to be this person's sugar mama, basically. In order to get a kind reaction, in order for them to say hi without like rolling their eyes at me, I have to spend diamonds. I don't love that. Okay, so I do want to ask you, your opinions about each character. So how do you predict Casey's relationship with Ethan will play out?
I think it's gonna be a lot of back and forth with like, yeah, I might be flirting for a couple seconds and then he's just gonna shut that shit down. And I think eventually there's gonna be a conversation where like, oh my god, I can see it now. Like, oh, you remind me of myself when I was your age. Or I'm this cold-hearted because I lost a patient that meant a lot to me. Or my parent died, and if I was a doctor, then I could have saved them. Like, I feel like the reason why he acts the way he acts is because of some fucking broken-hearted story that we'll get to. But I don't know. I think it's gonna be either he likes you so much because you remind him of himself, or he sees potential in you. But either way, I just think it's gonna be a lot of back and forth, and it's gonna piss me off, and it's gonna be aggravating. Because the one thing that I don't like is hot and cold characters.
So your prediction is that there's going to be some story that explains to you in full detail like why Ethan is being such a dick.
Mhm. But listen, you just said that there's, like, 3 books, so Lord knows we probably won't get into much later.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for character development, a lot of opportunities for these characters to change their approach, their personality, a lot of opportunities for you to change how you feel about them. So, yeah, I mean, that's a good prediction. Maybe Ethan will open up to us. Maybe it'll only be in a diamond scene the way that this game likes to do this. So, what's your prediction about how their relationship will go with Jackie?
I think it's just gonna be very, like, I think that would be my rival. Like, if I had to pick a rival, it would be Jackie. I think it's gonna be very much like, I got to do this on a patient yesterday. "Oh, really? You just did that? I did that last week." I think that is gonna be a good competitive friendship. Maybe in the future, there's gonna be some sort of, like, wedge that causes them to drift apart, and we will have to work through that. But I think my interaction and my relationship with Jackie is what I'm most excited for.
I just think it's interesting that you are putting that on Jackie and you didn't say Aurora.
No, I think it's gonna be Aurora. It just feels like very high priest. Like she already been there, done that. Like, why would I try to compete with Aurora when her like I don't know. Just it could be a facade. Okay, it could
Mhm.
be, but I just feel like she's gonna be better than me.
She's gonna be so good, you're not even gonna want to compete.
I'm not even gonna want to try. I'm not even gonna want to like she's just like every time she opens her mouth, I'm gonna just be like, I get it, bitch. The fuck.
Yeah, I mean that does make sense because I mean Jackie in the first like two sentences she says to you is like, "I'll be nice if you stay out of my way."
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I feel like every book we talk about, there's like a little bit of a threat behind each like friendship.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
How do you think it's going to go with Bryce?
I think that could be a potential ally. I
Hmm.
feel like it might even be some sort of conflict between him and Dr. Douche. That's what I'm gonna call him, Dr. Douche.
Dr. Douche.
D squared.
Right.
I feel like you might have to choose between them. But I feel like out of everyone and their interactions I had, I don't really know where our relationship might go. I just feel like he could be a potential ally. I'm kind of here for a little bit. He's very flirty, very comical, and like, but like also I just feel like he knows his shit. Like he's not being goofy and funny because he's trying to like overcompensate with his lack of knowledge. That's just who he is as a person.
That brings us to a great point. Who do you think are going to be the allies in this book?
Oh shit. Okay, obviously Dr. Douche. I mean Avi.
Avi.
Dr. Douche. I feel like Aurora might slip in there. I feel like if you
Mm.
break her exterior and get to know her, there might be some redeemable qualities that you might find.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bryce.
Okay, so your prediction is Ethan, Bryce, and Aurora.
Hmm.
I would ask you how you feel Casey's relationship with Aurora will go, but I think you already kind of answered that. Do you want to provide any more context?
I just think definitely with Aurora and with Ethan, it's obviously what more than it's more than what meets the eye, and I think that just depends on the character's gameplay of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
This game is more so like literally whoever you're vibing with and whoever you want to spend time with and get to know, then like those scenes could be unlocked for you.
Mm-hmm.
Will I take the time to try to get to know both of them? I don't know. It just depends on like how the plot is and like how the story goes. But I really just think that like there is potential for Aurora to open up and for you to get to know her in a way that is more sincere than like, family legacy bad bitch vibes.
Right. I do think that there is a cold exterior that you kind of have to like
Hmm.
chip away at if you want to get to know her. And then how do you predict Casey's relationship with Landry is going to go?
Just that loyal friend that like I feel like he's gonna be the type of character that like you don't really know how much their friendship means to you until like you look back at it in like full perspective. I think it's gonna be like he's the type that's always gonna have that winning answer. He's always gonna be there. He's always his input is always gonna like help save the day type shit.
Hmm.
I just think he's a really good friend that is kind of seen as background noise, but once you focus on that, you realize he has a lot to say.
Right, because he very much comes off as a very like meek character.
Hmm.
No, I see where you're coming from. So far, do you think this story is very similar to other medical dramas you've watched, like Grey's Anatomy? I know that's like one of your favorite shows, if not your
Yes,
favorite
one of
show.
my
So,
faves.
what kind of, I guess, parallels do you see across both of them?
I think the competitiveness with the interns already, I can kind of see like, don't get in my way. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. But what I saw is that like take Dr. Bailey in Grey's Anatomy, for instance. She is the chief resident, so she is, a step above the interns. She was very much like, don't try to suck up to me because I don't give a fuck about you. And I think it's funny to see like the interns have that aspect already. Instead of just being it like competitive, they're just the same as like, don't fucking talk to me. Like Aurora, she's like, I'm better than you, but also don't talk to me because I fucking hate you. Like, I'm like, okay, my bad.
Yeah, it is very strange. Like, some of these characters seem I don't want to say unnecessarily dismissive because obviously Aurora has some background relationships that are going on that may be impacting how she's interacting with everybody.
Right.
But yeah, it is interesting because it's like it's even being hard, like slim pickings, to figure out who's going to be your friend in the intern group. So it is a very Strange dynamic. I was expecting more backlash from like the residents and not fellow interns.
Exactly. I said, damn, y'all interns a bunch of assholes.
So I have some Reddit reactions for us. User Mediocre Dunce said, please, Pixelberry, give us a cute and suave initial flirting response. Let the oh my god, you're so hot upon first meeting a love interest options die.
No, literally though, because those are not realistic.
When I read that, I was like, that's not. Even though like I didn't want to apologize because obviously we're in a locker room. Like I don't know what you're expecting to see if you go into a locker room. There's gonna be somebody's body in there. But also, it's like I did not want to pick the oh my god, you're so hot option because who just says that? It doesn't make any sense. That's not how real people talk.
At all.
And then it says also the same user also says like a lot of people, I am tired of the really brilliant and amazing doctor who is an asshole trope. Dr. House is the only one who can pull that off for me. Although I'm sure we'll find out Dr. Ramsey has a secret heart of gold, and I guarantee at some point he'll be like, I'm only harsh with you because I see so much potential in you. Yawn.
Literally what I said.
Are you tired of this trope? Like, I'm sure you watch a lot of medical dramas. Like, do you think that this doctor who is like intelligent, but he's a fucking asshat, do you think that that's like interesting at this point?
Oh, I'm so tired of it. So it's so exhausting.
I think we need to move past this idea that
Right.
if someone is intelligent, that gives them the right or the authority to just be like a complete dickwad.
And also, why can't we have a main character that truly everyone hates for the entire entity of the show? Like, why he's always a fucking asshole, and then you learn his backstory, and then he's like, I'm pushing you, or oh, I see value in you. Why can't he just be an asshole throughout the whole fucking show?
Right. Why does he have to be redeemable?
Yeah, dead ass. Like, why can't we just? Because like realistically, we have people in the workplace that are just assholes that we're not gonna like in the entirety of working there,
Yep.
and always try to save and redeem everyone. Why is that? That's not realistic either.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Absolutely. And then I think also it's to me something that I find to be ridiculous is that when the main character, and this is not open heart specific, this is any medical drama, when the main character finds this person who they think is really intelligent and doesn't like them, like why do we spend so much time kissing their ass?
No, truly.
I understand that Ethan has like a high reputation at the hospital, but why am I sitting here just like sucking his asshole when he's just so he seems like not a great person if you don't take the diamond options. Like he seems to have a little bit of authenticity to him if you take the diamond option, but if you don't, it's just like he's a jerk. Why do I have to force him to like me? Like in real life, I don't do that shit. If someone doesn't like me, they just don't like me. Sorry about it.
And that's it, right?
I don't yeah, it's a tired trope. So this other comment comes from a user who no longer exists on the platform, but their comment still lives on like the Reddit forum. This person said, I think the doctor actually looks better on than the cover, which is a surprise, and his personality kind of makes me want to fight him, but like in the bedroom. Are you like if Ethan does get presented as like an LI, are you like gonna take that option?
Girl, you know me. I be trying to fix everyone. But also, it almost makes me not. Here's the thing. Okay, take prime example like Grey's Anatomy, Meredith and Derek, right? Derek was Meredith's boss. Like, I don't like that aspect of like dating a boss. Like, it just, there's something about that that seems so like, if I had to choose a lie right now, it would be Bryce. Just because the thought of us working towards our goal year after year to reach that as a power couple, like that seems more promising and more realistic to me than dating someone who has been there, done that, and can almost look at me like I'm some like naive fucking Bambi that he could cure back to a better doctor. Like I don't want that.
Let me give you some more concrete words to describe a boss and employee relationship. It's predatory. It is.
Yes.
I know some
Yes.
people are probably going to turn off the podcast right now because, to be honest with you, the way that some of these people obsess over Ethan Ramsey, I mean, I'm not going to say he's a bad character, but a boss and employee relationship is always going to be predatory because at the end of the day, a boss has a certain amount of power over all of their employees
Mhm,
that there's no way that that
mhm.
relationship can be healthy. realistically. And I understand, like, some people think it's hot, and if you think it's hot, that's fine. Like, it's a fictional story. I'm not holding it against you. There's some fictional stories where I think certain relationships are hot, but I would never condone it in real life. And it's only because it's fictional that I'm into it. But in real life, if I knew someone who was sleeping with their boss, I would be like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, you're putting yourself in a really bad position. And I do agree with you in the sense that, like, for me, I think a relationship with Bryce could be more promising. I think it's good because even though you both work in the same hospital, you have different specialties. So it's not
Yes,
like if
yes.
drama goes down in the internal medicine side, surgical is not. Hopefully, I don't know. I don't know. I'm making assumptions here. I don't know that much about hospitals and like how drama works in them, but he would be a step away from that. Whereas all of your
Yes.
other potential love interests that we're trying to guess, because obviously we haven't had an option given to us yet, but all of the love interests that we're guessing are all in internal medicine. And that just seems very messy. Like, I do feel like
It's messy.
I don't advocate for dating your coworkers because I think it can go down south really fast. But I do believe that if you are going to date a coworker, date someone who doesn't like work literally right next to you, please, because it can just go bad so fast. So yeah, I would
Right, it can get messy so fast.
at best, I think a potential relationship between Ethan and Casey would be predatory. And that's just how I feel. If you're upset about that, I apologize. If you left the podcast, I hope you had a good time. 'Cause that's just how I feel.
Look forward to our episode of Ride or Die.
Yeah, if you decide you never want to listen to an episode of Open Heart because that's how I feel about a potential relationship between Ethan and Casey, then I mean, all for it. Go ahead, do you. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to condone a relationship that I think is like very toxic in real life. And I think a certain percentage of the people who would ship Ethan and Casey together would recognize that in like an actual real life world situation, this would not be a good idea.
It would not. It
It
wouldn't.
would not be. So user Argyle MN, who in their comment prefaced that they're an actual doctor, said Ramsey should not be working at a teaching hospital if this is his attitude towards interns.
No, truly.
He's such a dick.
No, absolutely.
This is like literally a teaching hospital, and I get it. Like, I'm not saying he needs to baby anybody, because clearly he doesn't, but I do think that there's a certain amount of, I don't know what is it, tone, bedside table manner, teacher manner, I don't know what it is, but he's lacking it. He seems like he doesn't even really want to be there, which I'm like, if you don't want to be an attending, then like go work somewhere else where like you're not going to be expected to contribute to these people's education.
Exactly. Because giving someone who has the credentials as him, it should never be, I am so well known. What do I look like teaching you? It should be, I'm so well known. Who is going to teach you if not me?
Correct.
His fucking attitude on the situation, like, ugh, Jesus, this is exactly why he's not about to get in these pants. Okay, Bryce, we're
Exactly. This is why I'm like, I don't know what y'all find so attractive about this man. Like, maybe there's some information that gets revealed later on in the book that would like make us want to get to know him. But at the present moment, like, I'm just not someone who's attracted to assholes. Sorry, not my type. Not my
and
type.
it's so crazy because I'm so prideful, which is why I did the diamond scene because I was like, no, bitch, Doctor Douche about to know who I
Dr.
am.
Douche.
And was the diamond scene more than I expected? Yes, but that does not make me favor the character nonetheless because he's still a fucking asshole.
Right. Anytime that you have to pay diamonds for someone to like you, I think that that is a red flag to me personally. So there is another deleted user who asked, does anyone know if a real hospital would let interns totally be in charge of patients? It seemed like they had no supervision. To which user Skincare Throwaway 665 said interns are very closely supervised by senior residents and attendings and usually don't do a round alone until they are much more experienced.
Yes.
Which I would agree. It's very strange that they're like, all right, everybody, pair up. Good luck. Don't kill anybody.
Aim to them like talking to her, that would never happen. It would be a senior resident or an attending talking to the patient, and the patient would be like, "I fell," and then the attending would look at the interns and be like, "Okay, she fell. What does that tell us?" and then they'd be like, the bitch was tripping, and then like the attending would be like, yay or nay, yeah, like that happens. But for both of them, the interns, even Aurora is basically the next fucking chief of medicine. For both of them to go and like question her and take vitals without there being a supervisor, highly inaccurate.
Also, to give the patient a prescription.
Highly inaccurate.
Like, that's scary. Like, I know Annie was like, "Oh my god, I like you guys so much." She was all smiley and stuff. But if I had just found out that this was the doctor's like first day on the job and they're prescribing me something, I would be like, where's a more senior doctor that I could talk to? Because y'all don't know enough to be out here doing this. So yeah, no, I 100% agree. It is very unrealistic, but I understand, they have to. This is a medical drama book. It's not meant to be super realistic.
Yeah, it's not, and that's good because it's not.
Is it right? And then user Lone Gunman says, "Did anyone else cringe when the main character hides from Dr. Ramsey behind an intern if you don't buy the diamond scene, or was it just me? The main character needs to grow a backbone if they even want to have a chance at being a good doctor."
Which again, it's unrealistic because you can grow a backbone with Aurora and be like, "Don't test me, bitch," but you can't do one with the Doctor Douche. Like it's just the whole situation. It's just inaccurate.
Especially because like during the meeting where, they're at the bulletin board and you meet Aurora, like Aurora pretty much like curses you out in front of everybody. Not cursing, but
Well,
it's the best way I can
yeah,
phrase it. But like
yeah,
curses you out in front of the entire group of interns. So if the main character is embarrassed by Dr. Ramsey cursing them out, but not embarrassed by Aurora cursing them out, then it's like I don't know. I guess you could use the excuse, well, Dr. Ramsey, he's an attending and Aurora's an intern, so maybe it's like less embarrassing. But yeah, the way that this book, it doesn't have a lot of consistency. And again, it's the issue with, you either get some balls and go talk to this man, which you don't have to do in real life. In real life, you could just like let him pass you in the hallway without saying anything,
right.
or you eat shit off the floor. Like it's one or the other.
You're scooping it with the scalpel because you're not going to use it any other time. So like,
You're never gonna get an opportunity to do this ever again, so let's just go ahead and admit that. Okay, I think it is bingo time.
oh, I'm excited.
It's bingo time. So I would actually like you to kind of walk through the bingo. So for context, in our Ride or Die episodes, we have a bingo card that was created by a Reddit user. But I could not find an open heart bingo that was already created by someone in the fandoms. And I personally don't watch a lot of medical dramas. Like, that's just not my vibe. Lucas, however, loves watching them. So I kind of gave him a little homework assignment and I was like, come
Hmm.
up with some tropes for the medical drama genre. And I want you to create all of the bingo prompts, and so we can kind of use it in the same way as we do for Ride or Die. So if you're a new listener and you haven't listened to our Ride or Die episodes, one, go listen to them. Rude. And
Period.
then two, essentially the point of bingo in these books is for us to put down a lot of tropes or stereotypes or misconceptions that we think that the authors are going to write into these books. And we just see how many tropes we can get. I would actually like for Lucas to walk us through this since he is the one who created this. So Lucas, feel free to kick off.
All right, let's do this. So our first space. Someone's parental figure was a doctor. That has not
Mhm.
happened yet. Number two, a character has wanted to work at Edinburgh for years and it is their dream job. Yes.
Literally like the second line.
The second
Is
line like
literally the
of the entire
second line of the
book.
entire book is, "Oh my god, Edenbrook is my dream job."
Thirdly, someone bones in an on-call room, not yet. A character wants to be a good doctor so they can make something of themselves. Not
Mhm.
yet. Characters are surgical prodigy. Now, no,
No.
not yet. No, Aurora comes from a legacy, but it doesn't state that she's good at it yet.
Also, yeah, she's not in surgery.
Oh, she's not. Yeah, she's yeah.
I feel like in order to be a prodigy, maybe I need to Google the definition of this to make sure I'm saying it correctly, but I do feel like in order to be a prodigy, you have to have come from someone who did that occupation and then perform well in that same occupation.
Yes, yes.
So Really,
Yeah.
the only character that we know who is surgical right now is Bryce. So we would have to rely on Bryce to
Hmm.
say, oh, well, my parents did surgery. So that's why I'm so good at this. But it hasn't happened yet.
A massive tragic accident happens inside the hospital. Not yet. A rival steals a case from someone. No. A character helps with the case or procedure but doesn't get credit. No. One patient's death hits a character harder than others. Nope. Someone falls in love with a patient. I will bet money that's what happened. It hasn't happened yet, but I will bet that it's a character saves someone before they even start their job at the hospital.
Do you feel like that event that happened in this chapter counts? I think it does.
I think it does as well. I couldn't even get to orientation.
Exactly. Like we literally had on one pair the most that we did is we took a photo for our ID. And that was it. That's all we got to do.
It applies, like, absolutely.
Yeah. I would say that this is a scenario in which I would feel comfortable marking that one up.
Next, a character witnessed a death when they were younger, inspiring them to save lives. A character gains feelings for their attending slash superior. I hope not. God,
We hope because we hope not because that's toxic.
that's toxic. A character makes a mistake and kills someone.
Not
Not
yet.
yet. Fingers crossed
You said fingers crossed?
that we
Oh
don't.
my god, I hope they
Oh,
kill
that came
somebody.
out wrong. That literally came out wrong. I mean, it would be good for the
It would be
drama, but
amazing for the drama.
a character is able to diagnose a patient when no one else can. Well, okay. We pointed out the bruise, but I feel like he would get there at that point, right?
Yeah, I feel like in order for this to count, we would literally have to hear every other character in the room dealing with the patient be like, I don't know what it is. And then a character would have to
Yes,
be like,
yes.
I know what it is because I read about this in a medical book in my med school years.
Yes, yes. All right, next. A character struggles balancing their career and their love life. Nope, he's just, Casey's struggling battling a career and sleep, but, not love life
And
yet.
honestly, the sleep has nothing to do with their career yet. They're not losing sleep because of their career. They're losing sleep because they bought a shitty apartment.
A character comes from a family that has known hardship. Nope, not discussed. A character comes from a perfect family, not discussed either. A character struggles with what surgical specialty they want to be. Again, we are just that's on the back of baby daddy
Mhm.
Bryce, okay? Is we are not in that specialty, we're not in that program. Two doctors become obsessed with a character and they struggle to choose one.
And to preface, I think what you're getting at with that is you say that there are two doctors that kind of want to take a certain person under their wing, and the person who is being obsessed, who is the object of a obsession between the two
Mhm.
characters, has to pick who's going to be their mentor, right?
Yes, that's exactly yes. Because there are definitely in these medical dramas, there are a lot of times where they're like, she she has the potential to be the best student I've ever had, and like someone else could feel that
Hmm.
same way, and like it this big conundrum of like, who you about to choose, baby?
Right.
A character becomes sleep deprived and starts to burn out. A character breaks a rule or law to save someone. I see that happening in here as well. One of Edenbrook's employees dies unexpectedly. And then lastly, the employees have a hangout spot after work. So far, we have only knocked off 2 spots on our open heart book 1 bingo. Well, and the free space. We can go ahead and do the free
Right.
space.
But in terms of actual content, only two spots. So cool. Lucas, thank you for putting that together. Thank you for
Of
leading us
course.
through it. I think unless you have any final parting words, this is the end of our episode.
Yes, no, this is
Okay.
it.
So please go check us out on all of our socials at Play Choices Podcast on Instagram, at Play Choices Pod on Twitter. It's playchoicespodcast.tumblr.com for our Tumblr page, which is where I will post any episode notes. Episode notes can include anything from like links to posts that I've mentioned, photos I've mentioned, etc. So if you're just looking for extra content, it will be right there. We will be also posting our blank bingo card if you want to play along with us when you listen to the podcast. We are available for listening on literally all major platforms. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate, review, and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm, thing like that, so it does help. You can leave us a voice message at, this is a long URL and I'll put it in the description too. It's anchor.fm/play-choices.podcast/message. I will accept responsibility for the length of that URL because it's mostly the name of our podcast. But if you leave us a voice message, we could play it in a future episode. So if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure that allows you to be anonymous. Like, you don't have to like give us your name or phone number or even email us. But you could email us too. Wink, wink. If you have any questions, theories, or comments, or anything you just want Lucas and I to read, whether on the podcast or off, please email us at playchoicespodcast@gmail.com and we'll try to respond in the next episode. And lastly, if you are interested in directly supporting this podcast, because like I said, we have like $1.28 in our account right now.
Yeah, we're trying to buy Snickers, including tax.
Right. We're
So
trying to be able to afford the tax on the Snickers. Also, I'll say, like, if you do donate money, we can put it towards better equipment.
oh
You don't
yes.
know this because I'm a great editor, so you will not know this, but we literally had to stop recording this because my mic gave out. So you could buy us, you could help us buy new equipment. If you do want to directly support the podcast, it is again anchor.fm/play-choices.podcast/support. Again, that will be both in our episode notes and the description of this episode. So yeah, that's it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Happy Valentine's Day, even though this is going to be a week later.
Bye
Bye.
guys.